in the mirror. Man, you're so dirty. Yeah, you look so dirty. You were never worthy. Lately, it's you.
Welcome to the Jeremy Hill Show. If you're easily triggered, leave now because this is not the show for you. Now, what I'm going to do for you today, ladies and gentlemen, is discuss the issue as to why black women are the least married, but the most divorced. We're going to cover that. I'm going to give you some facts, data, and statistics in this reaction video. We're going to talk about a whole lot of stuff. I'm going to show you one lady from a different ethnic group who speaks for almost all ethnic groups when it comes to women. She says that divorce is the new luxury. So we're going to get into that right now. Hold up as I put it on the screen for you so you can see exactly what we're about to get into. Yes, sir. There we go. Let's do it.
Documentary. 1 of every 3 married in this country, black or white, ends in a divorce in 18 months. Now, you see, it used to be if you got divorced, something was wrong with you. But when you have a stat this high, something must be going on in society. I now want to explain what that is. When America believed in agriculture, America believed in extended family. When America believed in the factory, industrialism, America believed in the nuclear family. But now that America believes in the computer, now America believes in a single-parent family. Make sure you see my analysis. When the economy changed, the family structure changed.
When the economy changed, the family structure changed. What he is talking about, ladies and gentlemen, this is an old video. This video was made in the mid or late 70s. The second wave of feminism happened in the 60s, okay? So the economy changed because women then became eligible for employment in different ways. They was able to become more independent financially. And when they became more financially independent, this is when you start to see the breakdown of the nuclear family, because they felt that they didn't need a man anymore. Why? Because those other jobs he was talking about, agriculture and stuff like that, when the woman and the man had to come together to get a job done, she valued that man more because she had a dependence upon that man. When the money came, more outlandish liberties came to the woman. You get what I'm saying? So let's keep going.
The family structure changed. There was more than love in these relationships. There was some money involved here. Our grandparents worked the fields together, had economic reason to stay together, and so they did. In the factory, man works in the factory, woman takes care of children. Economic reason again to stay together. But in this new
economic reason to stay together. The men back then, before the second wave of feminism that took place in the late 60s, the men back then was the hunter, the gatherer, the protector, the provider. The man has to walk. In those days, he had to walk in those titles. He had to be a real man. And the woman had to be feminine. She had to nurture the children. She had to stay in a woman's place, just like a man had to stay in his place. But when the economy changed, when women had accessibility to higher learning, to better jobs, to better high-paying jobs, she threw out her feminine ways and exchanged them for masculine traits. This is when you start to see, as a result of the second wave feminism in the 60s, this is when you start seeing that boss diva independent mindset, and it ruined the American family. It ruined the black American family especially. Let's keep going.
economic reason again to stay together. But in this new economy, where you now have women working just as much, if not more, than men, you now hear women telling men, I don't need you. Got my own job. Do what I want to do when I want to do it. And we are now doing it very well and by ourselves. You know the #1 song in America a couple years ago, Ain't Nothing Going On But the Rent. If you want to be with me, you got to have a job. It's all about money. All about money. When the economy changed, the family structure changed. And so now we have a lot of people making plenty of money and lonely.
A lot of women making plenty of money but lonely. A lot of women making a lot of money but can't find the man that they want. A lot of women making a lot of money but are extremely difficult and unpleasant to be around. It all came about because of second wave feminism. As soon as that I'm an independent woman came about, that's why many women, millions of women in America are very unhappy. Excuse me for stumbling on my words. Now, I'm going to put some facts on the screen right quick. Give me a second. I'm going to put it up there for you. Better put on there. Gotta make the screen wider for you so you can see it. Excuse me. There it is. Now let me read it to you. Now, this is according to, now I'm gonna give you some facts from 2020 to 2022, I think to 2023 too, okay? So let's get started. This is according to jbhe.com. It says, some 34.4% of black men were married in 2021, compared to 28.6% of black women. For whites, 55% of men, and for white women, it was 52.4% that was married. This was done in November 21st, 2022, when this statistic came out. Now, let me tell you something. What you're seeing right there is that more black men are married than black women. Let that sink in. Even if they are married to people from different ethnic groups, if they have chosen to go outside of their racial demographic, black men are married more than black women. Think about that now. Black women are making it so hard for them to be married. Men don't want you, and it's not always because of how fit you are. Now, we want our women to be fit and fine and shit like that, but there are some men who will kind of settle for the average looking woman. The problem is, black woman, is that it's your attitude. It's your lack of submission, your lack of femininity. That is why men are not marrying you. This is why men are marrying other women. The next stat says this. Now, this came from Amazon.com because there's actually a book that's dealing with this. That's why it's on here. And the statistics state that 70% of black women are single. And many believe that it is because black women can't find a good black man. That's a bunch of BS. There are plenty of good black men. You don't want them. You want the wrong men. A lot of you going to be single. A lot of you going to die single. Now, we're going to go to another one. 1 second. Did I just read it? I think so. Okay, here we go. What is the divorce rate by ethnicity? Sorry. It says the black divorce rate is the highest among other races by 30.8%. The Hispanic divorce rate is the second highest by 18.5%. The white divorce rate makes up almost half of the black divorce rate of 15.1%. The Asian divorce rate is the lowest among other races at 12.4%. Again, the black divorce rate, talking about you women, is at 30.8%. So you are the least married and you have the most divorces. The black men are the most married and you are the least married with the most divorces. Now look at what the U.S. Census Bureau, their survey they took in 2020, and we're getting this from blackdemographic.com. Look at the black men on here, under black marital status. It says that 33% of black men, now this in 2020, were married. Out of those men, 3% was separated. Out of those men, back then, 10% was divorced, 3% was widowed, and 52% never married. So all the good men, they within that never married percent. You're not looking for them. Now look at the black women. It says that 27, this is 2020, black women in 2020 was married at a 27% rate. They were separated at a 4% rate. They were divorced at a 13% rate. They were widowed at an 8% rate. And they never married at a 48% rate. So the black men was divorced at 10%, and you ladies was divorced at a 13% in 2020. The black men was married at 33%, ladies, and the black women was married at 27%. So y'all been taking L's for quite some time. Y'all get divorced more. And we already know that according to the American Sociological Association, that 80% of all divorces are filed by women. That number jumps up to 90% if the woman has received some form of higher learning, degrees. So that's the reason why. Now, according to the NCBI.NLM, I don't know but it's .gov, you can see it. Their statistic says this. For example, more than half 57.3% of older African American men were married or cohabitating, compared to only 29.4% of older African American women. That was taken in May 29, 2020. So what that tells me is, even men are living with cohabitating, mean you're not married, you're staying together. You still have more men doing that than the women. You still have men who are married more than the women. Now, this is real deep right here. For all groups, now this came from the Pew Research Center. For all groups, the percentage of never married men in 1970 was 28.1% compared to 22.1% of women. Now, by 2020, these figures rose to 35.8% and 30% respectively. However, in 1970, 35.6% of black men and 27.7% of black women were never married. But by 2020, these percentages had jumped to 51.4% for black men and 47.5% for black women. So what that says is, now it's always going to be apparently, because they keep updating the information. But from what we can see here, the men are always in the 50% and the women are like the 30 or the 40%, okay? You are the least married, the most divorced out of all ethnic groups. And I just gave you my sources. You can verify yourself. Out of all ethnic groups, you got the most divorces. I'm going to tell you why. It's your attitude. It's all it is. It's really just your attitude. If you could change your attitude, things would get better for you, but you don't want to do that. So let me play something else that's really kind of crazy. This is a white lady, I believe, and she's going to say that getting a divorce for modern women is a luxury now. Let's break this down. Hold on one second. There you go.
I really think we're going to start to see the divorce rates just fucking skyrocket. Anyone who's not convinced yet that the big divorce is coming, just look at this. Soon the stigma is not going to be against single women. It's going to be against married women. And I'm here for it.
Did you hear that? It's going to come a time where being a divorced woman is not a bad thing. It's going to be a great thing. This is what this lady says. And there's going to come a time where women who want to be married and want to be feminine, they're going to be shitted on. They're going to be the ones that have the negative stigma, the dark cloud that follow them. That's going to be the woman who gets pushed down, who is put down and embarrassed from day to day. Being married, there's going to be a time when a woman who wants to be married is going to be discouraged by her peers. This is what this woman is saying. And it's almost there now if it isn't here now.
Soon the stigma is not going to be against single women. It's going to be against married women. And I'm here for it.
These kinds of videos are rampant. This trend is like a pandemic. In female circles, the woman that has problems with her man gets the most attention. And the woman that's planning on getting a divorce is the alpha of the group.
Did you hear that? The woman who plans on getting a divorce gets the most attention and praise from other women. And she is also considered to be the alpha in the group. Why is that? Because the fact that she initiated and filed the divorce shows her friends, who are also idiots and morons, that she has masculine traits, that she is better than a man, that she can take on the leadership of a man and lead herself out of this horrible marriage. It's sad, man.
Divorce has become the new luxury item amongst females. It's as good as having a Birkin bag. And the woman that's...
Divorce is as good as having a Birkin bag. This is how they are treating your marriages now, gentlemen. This is how they're treating your hearts now. You don't mean nothing to them. Divorce, why not? For a lot of women, divorce is a good business move, man. They can sit on their ass all day while they get spousal support, alimony from you. You taking care of them. And if they got kids, that's more money. It's a good business move. So it's like a Birkin bag. It's like a Mercedes Benz. A divorce is like a Porsche. Just something, a luxurious item.
Good as having a Birkin bag. And the woman that's having problems with her man and is planning on initiating a divorce, all the other women sit around and listen to her endlessly. She is like a queen holding court, and She informs her friends of just how she's going to execute it. Don't think for a moment that when a woman is planning these things that she keeps it to herself. She tells her entire friend circle. They all know. And this woman will come home and lay next to her husband at night and have a long-term plan for divorcing her husband all mapped out.
In other words, she's scamming. In other words, she is you sleeping with the enemy. She's already making plans to get away from you, not just to get away from you, but she's trying to get away from you and find out how she can get the most out of you when she leaves. On her departure, she want to take as much as she possibly can. She'll lay next to you, still sleep with you, still have sex with you, intercourse with you, and all this other stuff, but she's plotting. This is a very wicked world we live in because women are thinking like this now, man.
She may already be getting consultations from lawyers, consultations from friends. And as a man, you do not want to be blindsided by this. If you're having any type of consistent problems in your marriage, and if you notice a consistent negative change in your wife, you might want to begin looking into how to protect yourself, if there is a way to protect yourself. But again, you do not want to be blindsided.
Well, the best way to protect your prenups okay, but prenup can be challenged. You can lose a prenup, okay? Because they could say that a woman was underneath, what's the word, distress. That means that you put the woman under pressure in order for her to sign the prenup. Many prenups get thrown out for that one reason alone most times. The best way to protect your things, gentlemen, is through something called an asset protection trust. Look into that. When you get those type of things, you don't have to get her a lawyer and get you a lawyer. You can do that on your own. You can get a lawyer too if you want to. But when you're dealing with a prenup, you have to get a lawyer. She got to get a lawyer. And then she got to try to get as much as she can. You got to try to keep as much as you can. And that shit costs you money, okay? All the other shit, it does not cost as much money just to get an asset protection trust. She don't even have to know about that. You hear me? You can still go into your things, your belongings, and withdraw from your money, and she will never be able to touch that. Now, for some of you, go like, that ain't true. I did a video. Look it up. It's talking about how to protect yourself in divorce. Look at one of my videos, and I have a lawyer that speaks about that asset protection trust thing in greater detail than what I said. He said more eloquently than I did, but trust me, it works, okay? And you can look into it yourself. That's to protect y'all. Well, you let me know what you think about this video. You know how I get down. I'll be talking to y'all pretty soon. Take it easy now. You hear?